You want to put your name at the top. We're going to show you where to go find products that pay you 50% of whatever they're selling for. It's high-paying affiliates, and we're going to show you how to promote those products. So that'll be a fun class. I'm passionate about this. And
so Mark, you can come out of this class with a business and you don't even have a product?
Yes, you don't need to have a product, you don't need to have anything. And we're going to show you how to do, well, today we did a squeeze page for Mary. Does that sound exciting? A squeeze page? A squeeze page in the internet world is nothing more than a one-page website that's designed to only capture your email. And what you get if you're going to go to her squeeze page, it's not up yet, you'll get free a credit repair kit that has all the letters that you write to clean up your credit. It has an explanation of everything you want to do. The same repair kit, if you count it out comparable in the store, is about $49. And you get it free. And what is she doing? She's capturing your email because she's in the credit repair business. I'm sorry, she's in the credit education business. You can't say credit repair anymore, you get in trouble. She's in the credit education business and credit restoration business. But do you see now she'll capture lots of names. And then she'll know how to write a press release to drive the traffic to that squeeze page. It'll be in the free classifieds. So this is a business that could put, you know, the heck with the rest of the country. This is an opportunity for Detroit to recapture some of their money in the rest of the world, because it's a world business. She's going to be selling credit restoration kits and credit education kits to everybody all over the country. It'll scare you because she's going to be selling them to people in Japan, and you'll have no idea why they buy them. I sell my foreclosure boot camp to people in other states, and the laws don't even apply. And they call me up and they go, why are you doing this? And they said, well, we've heard that Michigan's really good. So they're studying Michigan. And that's the point. Michigan is not a dead market. When you talk to Terry, selling stuff to out-of-state people, right?
Every week.
Every week. So Michigan's on sale. Other people know that. And you can buy properties in Michigan. And we're going to have some programs that we're going to be working with to show you how to get an exit strategy where you actually have the person you're going to sell that house to before you ever buy the house. And we're going to do an all-day seminar on that. And you can actually start to make money with that system by going and finding a landlord that's got a property he needs to sell or move. And we're going to show you how to do that with a lease option, but a lease option that puts a tenant at risk. So he's at risk to buy the house. And then you're going to work with mortgage people, and the mortgage people should come to that seminar because they end up being the coach for the investor. Because they're going to know how to structure that deal, so we put the tenant at risk. And we put the tenant in a motivational environment where his rent combined with the note payment he's going to be making, it's part of his option consideration, is going to be higher than what his mortgage payment's going to be. So he's motivated to buy the house. And you're going to work with the mortgage person, all the mortgage people, because they're going to show the tenant what the tax advantages are in making that move. And then you've got somebody that's in a room that's got actually Ken in the back of the room. Ken's got people that already qualify and he's got a program to put them through. So you combine all that stuff, you've got a winning combination. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to find your exit strategy first. And you can make money from the existing landlords. I do that for them. I charge them like $3,000 if I've got an upfront deal and I'm collecting that kind of money. And they're thrilled with it. When I've got a tenant at risk, they're getting above market rents, and it works. So those are like some of the events that we've got coming up.
What is that?
I haven't said it. It'll be set in the next. We've got like 6 or 7 events. In fact, so the internet marketing class, that's June 19th. How many people want to be in it? Because it's going to be limited, probably. Okay.
Is it just one class?
It's no, it's going to be 5 weeks.
On the same day?
On the same day. Now, raise your hands because you're going to have to take some oaths here. Here's the deal. The reason we're doing the internet class to show you this is because you get to be sales agents, because the college, and somebody needs to take Mark Lang's temperature because I'm serious, he shouldn't have done this. He structured a convention where it doesn't cost anybody anything. What's upsetting about it's the same convention that I went to Atlanta and paid $1,500 for. He went there too and paid $1,500. I've been to that convention twice. We're bringing all those speakers here. They're like the gurus, and it's where I picked up the stuff I've learned. So we're doing a weekend on the July the 14th and the 15th. at the Crown Plaza, which is at the airport, because there's going to be people flying in from all over the country. We're going to do a convention, and it's only got, it's 150 people. So you have to put a $100 deposit. At the end of the weekend, you get your money back if you stay in the seat both days, because it's limited. So that's a really great deal.
Get your money back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I need to take this man's temperature. So the college is doing an incredible deal. I'm serious, because nowhere can you go where that's happening. You can't go anywhere in the country and they do that. And the speakers are going to get up there and they're going to share what they know. They are going to want to sell you. They're very effective salesmen. They're going to have programs. So you need to leave your wallets at home if you don't want to spend anything. And it's not prepared to spend some money. But it'll be, and I went to 2 of those, and I didn't play on the internet. I wasn't doing what I was doing before I started going to this. And the guy that built my website is one of the speakers. And he fired me 2 years ago. Last year he did a little over $6 million or $5 million on the internet in 1 year. So he's going to be there to tell his story. The internet's only been around 11 years. It's still the wild, wild west. So you can go in there, somebody even like me can go in there and get at the top of Google. That was a fax guy a few years ago that can't spell. So I'm telling you, this is a great...
So everything's possible.
So yeah, anything's possible. So that'll be something worth going to. And then on June the 21st, at 39,000 Schoolcraft, National Real Estate Network, which I'm one of the co-founders of, and the college helped sponsor that with us too. We're going to have an event where you can go get a credit line. Right on the spot, the guy's coming in, it's a $100 deposit, it's refundable, and what they'll do is if you've got a credit score of 685, what they do is they guarantee you they'll get you a $100,000 to $150,000 line. If you've got a limited liability company you've had for 2 years or more, they can get you up to $500,000. And they're going to charge you, because they're not doing it for free, they're going to charge you 4%, but they're not going to charge you that 4% until you've got the credit line or whatever you establish it if you want it. So it's a back out situation. And the thing about having a credit line is a lot of times when you can go show that you've got the capability to buy something, especially in the commercial world, the sky's the limit, okay? But you want to understand in this market, here's my philosophy about Detroit. And this is what I say. See, what people do is buy homes, they pull out all the cash, they pull out the equity, and they live it on lifestyle. And I know that because I've done that. And it's pretty much 97% of the market does that. The secret to being successful in real estate, there's nothing wrong with pulling the cash out. You can buy that property, you can refi it, pull your cash out, but then I say when you refi, you want to pay the points down. Pay them down to where, there's a mortgage person here, how low can I get my mortgage payments down to an interest if I buy down my points?
By buying 2 points.
Drop it down. So you get your interest rate low, your payments low, you're in a position to flow in the market, and you can still pull your money out. But the trick is in pulling your money out is to reinvest it. Maybe not necessarily in real estate, but in something that generates you cash. And the successful people I see, that's what they're doing. And I've got a mentoring program I teach, and the most successful people I've got are finding the tenants first. They're doing that lease option exit strategy. And if the house appraises for $100,000, they're getting $10,000 option consideration. People don't have $10,000, so they're getting the difference in the form of a note, earning 7%, and that note's structured with the mortgage person to make sure the note combined with the rent is higher than what their monthly payment's going to be. So, what other events do we have coming up? Let's see. Oh, well, the convention, I think we covered them all pretty well. So, I think that's it. And we're gonna do a class in the fall.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. The college, they have an investment class in the fall, and that's a really good value too for the price you're going to pay. And it runs like 15 weeks. It'll be 3 nights once a week, and it's on investing. And Tarek, I'm shutting up because I know you've been waiting a long time, but I know that you can talk very fast.
You got about another 45 minutes till 9 o'clock.
Okay, so, well, thank you for letting me talk.
Two questions, Mark. One is the July 14th and 15th visit, the conference?
Yes.
Where did we register for that? That's one question. And the second question is, on June 21, there's the event at the school prep where you get a line of credit. Now, is that in Laurel Park?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's Laurel Manor.
Laurel
It's not
Manor.
Laurel Park.
Right, okay, thanks.
It's Laurel Manor, it's 39,000 school craft.
Okay.
If you've never been to one of our events, they're free. If you've been to one before, it's $20. Oh, wait, that event's free. I'm sorry, they've opened it up to the public, so that's free for anybody who wants to come to that.
That's on the 21st.
And if you're in real estate, whatever your business is, you want to bring cards, because we've got a resource table, you want to bring your flyers. That night, there'll be a huge crowd there, so if you want to, your networking will be very good there. So
Can we sign up for these classes this evening?
you can give me your name and number, and I'll have, here's the number you can call, 248-762-0800, and ask for Irvy. She'll handle everything. Or you can go on the website, Mega Evening Event, and it's on the flyers, megaeveningevent.com, and you can register there.
What was that website again?
It's right on the flyers on the table. It's megaeveningevent.com. Then there's one more specialty seminar on July, if you're a club member or you decide to join our club, once a month we have a specialty event, and there'll probably be 30 or 40 people at that. And Mary Griffin, raise your hand, because she wasn't here earlier. She does credit restoration. She does an outstanding job. And the thing about what you'll pick up that night is she's going to show you some nuances that, you know, like somebody that's been in foreclosure, they think they can't get that off their credit report. That's not true. They can. So that's the kind of stuff that she can talk about, and it's excellent.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Mark always has good information, and I think you'll enjoy the class. Tell somebody about it. Again, it starts June 19th. Okay, now we get to our main speaker for the night, Tariq Denha. Now, Tariq is the CEO of Metro Property Suppliers. He's born and raised in Detroit, but Metro Property Suppliers specializes in buying and selling properties below market value prices, not only to investors, but also primary homeowners. And so Tariq is one that will not only have a presentation, but I think we'll want to pick his brain tonight. He's currently involved in a project, I think, to build 200 new homes over the next 5 years. That's something that's starting up.
I'm working with a community developer and raising a federal grant to invest money into actually a federal bond to invest money into community development. And what we want to do is implement a new type of home in the area, which is called a SIP panel home, which is basically a foam house. It's super energy efficient, bulletproof, fireproof, and we'll be able to offer that home for less than $6.
Come on up, I'm just in the
Come on,
let's give him a hand. As you can see, he's not only an investor and businessman, but actually has an interest in community development. Okay.
Okay. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down because I'm loud enough naturally, okay? So if anyone has a problem hearing me, you can just let me know. All right. Microphones are just not my thing, okay? I kind of like to talk to everyone. So I've been a licensed realtor for 9 years. I've been buying and selling investment property for about 6 to 7 years, since 2001. I've been self-employed since I was 18 years old. I've always found that my heart always took me back to real estate. No matter what road I ventured down, whatever type of business it was, I always came back to real estate because it's the only thing that's real. It's the only thing you can jump up and down on, and you know it's there regardless, tomorrow or the next day. So my passion is taking people that don't have experience and bringing them into the business, helping them get their business established, set a business plan, set goals, and help them work through that one step at a time. I was nice enough to get invited. Mark was nice enough to invite me last month to the real estate roundtable. And then other Mark here said, hey, Tarek, come back and talk to everyone about what you do. So what I want to do, first and foremost, I want to figure out how many people in the room currently have any property or bought property. So if anyone has bought property or owns property, raise your hand. Okay, so most of the people have been through the process. One thing I was going to do, if there was a lot of people that hadn't been through it, I was going to go through the whole process of buying a home, from identifying it to putting it under contract. Does anyone have any questions about typically finding deals, putting them under contract, moving forward, and the steps associated with that? Or are you guys to the point where you don't need that and I can interest you with something else? Anyone that has questions about putting together the deals from start to finish at this time? Writing contracts, title, appraisals, getting pre-approved for financing, you guys all have a grasp on that stuff, or are you open to learn more?
I think if you're able to touch on a little bit of everything,
No problem.
or if that's okay, if that's the majority, or you can start at the top.
No problem. Well,
Unless anybody has a
the first
discussion.
thing, the number one thing is getting approved for financing. If you're gonna finance a property, you don't wanna go looking at something you can't afford. And as someone that's in the business, I don't want to spend my time with you if you can't buy it. And if I spend time with you and you can't perform, I'm going to feel like it's a waste of my time. The next time you're going to call me and say, I called you 5 times, you never called me back. And that happens because there's a lot of people out here that, you know, they're tire kickers, you know. So number one thing is get approved if you're going to get financing. If not, if you're not in a position to get financing, partner up with someone that has money, or partner up with someone that has credit. There's nothing wrong with having partners. I got a number of partners in the room here that I'm partnering in deals with, and it gives you the ability to do things that you couldn't do on your own. So don't think you need to do it all on your own, because you can't do it on your own. you need a team. So with that team, you want to get approved and find your money to do the deal, okay? Any questions about where you would find money from, maybe from a mortgage broker, IRA, any way that you have money you'd be looking to put into a deal, or even private money? Go ahead.
I have a question about the partnership thing. I hope I don't throw this off on a big tangent, but I've always been, because when I think of partners, I'm always concerned because I'm inexperienced of involving someone in something that looks real good to me, and then it blowing up in my face, and now I've messed up myself with somebody else. How do I protect a partner that I might?
Number one thing you can do is always be honest with them and tell them if you don't have an answer to the question, I don't have an answer, I'll research it and I'll get back to you. But it's a gamble, and what you'll find is that people that have a lot of money don't have a lot of time because they're too busy working to create their money. So there's a lot of value in someone that's willing to take their time to see everything through from A to Z. So as long as your commitment is a team to say that, hey, I'm going to make sure we do well. I haven't had one blow up in my face where I went to someone to come in, but I've had one where, like, wow, I wish I wouldn't have partnered with these people. But you live and learn, and the experience that I got, even out of my worst partnership, is priceless. You can't learn that in school. You can't learn that anywhere except for doing it. So I would say don't be afraid of it at all. As long as you find something, as long as you're open about what you're doing, and as long as you look at it and don't overpromise. Don't say, oh, we can make, a whole bundle of money. Shoot it conservatively, because I just had a guy, I spent all day with him yesterday driving around, showing him homes from Texas, and he said, it just still seems too good to be true. And you hear that all the time. But I was conservative with the gentleman. He still thinks it's too good to be true. So I'm sure he'll be interested. I told him I could charge him twice as much for the same home, but he didn't. He wasn't interested. So as far as the partnership, just be honest with your partners and just be straight with what you need. There's nothing wrong. The first time I did a joint venture, I was kind of almost embarrassed to go to someone and say, hey, I do this every day, but I don't have the money to do this deal on my own, and I need help. And what you'll find is that people that have seen you do it and know that you can do it, or even people that know that you're passionate about it and know that you invest a lot of your time in it, people are always looking for a way to make money, because people with money in the bank aren't making good returns. They're lucky to make a few percent, on their money. And IRAs, money markets, they don't, typically make big yields. I always make my partners a 50% partner in the deal. Some people just pay them a fixed rate on the money, and that's one way of doing it. But I just typically do a 50-50 split with them.
So you open up an LLC, or you put it in a contract as a partnership?
It depends upon how we do the deal, and if it's someone that I'm doing a lot of business with, we'll go ahead and open up a LLC together. If it's just a single deal, we'll go ahead and put both our names on title, or my entity and their entity. It's very flexible. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to tell you how to set up your partnership, but what I will tell you is that where there's a will, there's a way. If you have an idea in your head, you can make it work, So that's the whole key, is first coming up with the idea, figuring out what works for you. Questions about partnerships? No? We're good? Okay. So once you're approved, the next thing you want to do is locate a deal. And different ways people locate deals are, through working with real estate agents, wholesalers. More and more, I've been a realtor for 9 years, and the internet was not something that we saw buyers using when I got into the business. And now I get 80% of my business all comes from the internet, just from free marketing spots, such as Craigslist, if you guys ever heard of Craigslist, other various spots, anything that's for free to market, rehablist.com, different things like that. It's a great opportunity to get your property out there, get the phone ringing, build a relationship with people. Even if you can't do a deal with them today, you'll do a deal with them eventually. I met Brent here at the Oakland County Real Estate Investors Association a month ago, and we're doing a deal together. I said, I got a buyer for that, and hey, I'm fine. And everybody wins on the deal. At the end of the day, everyone's happy, and we'll move forward and get it done. So locate a property. You can locate property by coming to these type of workshops, RIA organizations, networking opportunities. Any spot you go, you'd be amazed you can find property. I laugh because I always see these signs around town, I buy houses for cash. And a while ago I used to put the signs out too. Got sick of all the headaches with it. So now what I do, is I call those people that have a sign to say I buy houses for cash, and I say, what do you have for sale? People are like, no one's ever called me to ask me that. I'm like, well, what do you buy them for? You buy them to resell. So you really want to read in between the lines to try and find property outside of conventional methods. Through one of Mark's seminars, I learned a good method that worked very well for me, which is calling for rent ads. And people say, you know, well, why won't you call the homes for sale? Well, everyone knows those homes are for sale. And as an investor, you want something that nobody knows about. That's the real secret, is having the stuff that's not flooded on the market, not giving someone an address they've seen 10 times over 5 years. You know? So I think that it's very important to look outside the box to try and find property. Calling for rent ads has been very, very prosperous because, for example, let's say you have a home in a certain neighborhood and you want to resell, and you see a for rent ad for a home in that area, you know that person's investing in your neighborhood. So it gives you an opportunity to network with other people that are vested in the area. So there's many, many different ways to locate a property, but once you find the property, you want to put it under contract. So everyone know how that works. Sign a purchase agreement, negotiate the price and terms between the buyer and the seller, excuse me, and then once you negotiate the price and terms and everyone agrees and there's a meeting of the mind, you then inspect the property to make sure that there's no major defects with the property, or if there is, you may renegotiate the price to compensate for that, or at least knowing what you're getting into. When you've done as many of them as I've done, you do your own inspections, but for new investors, I recommend getting a home inspector or going with a seasoned investor to look at the home, because we'll always see things that you guys won't see as you're getting into the business, you know, and there's a lot of really affordable fixes. Bud was here earlier, he's one of my contractors right now, he's putting together 4 homes for me currently. So, excuse me, what's that?
He does inspections too.
Yeah, and Bud will also do home inspections for any of you guys if you want, and he will look at it and give you ideas, you know, things you'll be looking at in the future, things that may not require money today or tomorrow, but in the near future. For example, we've seen a lot of homes where they have a cedar shake roof. Are you guys familiar with that? And a lot of the homes in Detroit, you'll have a couple layers of asphalt shingle, and under that you have a layer of cedar shake. Well, to do that roof correctly, you need to peel all that 2 layers of shingles off, the cedar shake, put in new plywood, and in a lot of instances that could cost you more than you paid for the home. So, you know, these are things to take a look at when you're buying a home. And definitely take someone that has experience with you so you know what you're getting, because most people that are buying, they're financing it. They say, well, it's only a few dollars I put down on the property if something goes wrong. What people fail to look at is that's a 30-year commitment that you're paying on. So if there's going to be something that goes wrong in 5 years or 10 years, it's going to cost a lot of money. You want to be prepared for it and know ahead of time. So do your inspections. Yeah, it's the best money you'll ever spend on a home. So next thing, once the property's under contract and inspected, at the time the property goes under contract, we order a title commitment. Now anything that I sell, I have a title commitment ahead of time. And you guys met Tony, who was here from Lighthouse Title. And what that does is that ensures that there's no liens or encumbrances on the property. So when it comes time to resell, you'll be able to get your money without any headaches. Well, there's plenty of headaches, but without any title headaches anyhow. During that point in time, the buyer will apply for a mortgage, and basically what that process entails is them filling out some forms, giving them their social security number, pulling their credit, verifying their employment, and many different things like that. The mortgage brokers will be happy to walk you guys through the approval process. Now once that gets submitted, once that mortgage application gets submitted, the lender kicks back conditions, and they want these conditions to be met or cleared, and then they issue you a clear to close. Title company works up the closing docs, everyone goes to closing. In the perfect world, it's not that easy, but just trying to make you guys understand the general gist of how it works. Once the mortgage package goes out, the title company works it up. You typically close and disperse a couple days after that. And the process is the same whether it's owner-occupied or non-owner-occupied. The only thing that really changes is the lending conditions. Sometimes they want more money down if it's non-owner-occupied, things like that. For other people that don't think that mortgaging property is necessarily the best thing for them, what I do is I do seller financing. So what that means is I will be the bank for you. You guys can purchase a home for very little money down, and then we'll carry the debt. And that's called a land contract. Has anyone ever done a land contract deal before? Anyone? No one? All right, we got a few. Okay. Well, seller financing is my favorite way to acquire property. And what that does is it allows you to acquire property without having people necessarily look at your credit and without having to jump through all the hoops of getting conventional financing. So what I like to do is, I'm going to say for every package of homes we buy, we'll sell out a handful of these homes, seller finance. So we give investors a chance that wouldn't usually have a chance to get into the business. With $3,000 down, we can make them a homeowner with no credit, bad credit, bankruptcy, foreclosure. As long as they don't have any federal tax liens that could encumber our position, they can own a home with $3,000 down and $250 a month. So as an investor, it works out great. If you want to rent it, you can still cash flow it. If you want to flip it, you can still flip the home. If you want to refinance it a month later and pay us off, you can do that as well. But it's pretty hard to get interest, 8.75% with no credit check. It's very attractive. And I have a list of I think there's about 8 homes left with those terms on the table over there. You guys will find the list or come talk to me directly about that.
You say the list, the names of the houses on that list, you're willing to go into?
Yes, I will sell those to a buyer with no credit check. The only thing I have to do is verify that you don't have any federal income tax liens, because those would encumber our title position. So we will be the bank for you, and how that works is you give us $3,000 down, you pay $250 a month, that's a principal and interest payment for 10 years, and then it's yours. Any point during there you can refinance without penalty. There's no balloon, there's no prepayment penalty. It's your home, we're the bank, whatever you choose to do with it is your business, as long as we get our $250 a month.
Now, can you go out and find the property and subject to your approval or is it just your properties that you are?
No, those are strictly our properties. What happens is we buy in bulk and we'll rehab a few of the homes and put tenants in them and resell them to other investors. And then a number of the other homes we'll sell as is to investors.
Okay.
So if there's something major that needs to be done with the home, you can talk to me. We can get the repairs done for you if it's a deal breaker type situation. The repairs and roll them into your financing for you.
Okay.
Any other questions about the land contracts?
Are those particular homes you're talking about, are they brought up to code or do you need to bring them up to code?
The average cost of improvements on those homes is typically about $5,000 to $7,000. They are all vacant homes, so they all need some sort of improvement. They were all typically foreclosed on within the past year to 18 months, so they're not properties that have been sitting for 5 or 10 years with no one in them, but they all do need some sort of capital improvement. So, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I've shown people some of them, and I said, well, yeah, it needs $5 or $6 grand worth of work, and other people said, hey, I'd move in here tomorrow. So, that's one of those things. But for the most part, all the homes are structurally sound. They all have some sort of improvement. That's typically why we buy them, because a lot of the time the improvement cost is more than what we're paying for the home because we're buying in bulk. So, and if anyone has resources for portfolio sales, we're always interested in portfolio acquisitions. Anything we can buy 10 at a time or more, as long as the price point's attractive. And those are typically non-performing homes that we buy. Does everyone know the difference between performing and non-performing?
No.
Okay. Well, performing asset's an asset that's creating income currently. So that would be like if your home is rented out, the tenant's paying rent, that would be a performing asset. And if the property is sitting vacant, that means that it's currently not performing. So we deal with performing assets and non-performing assets. The land contract properties, the seller financed, are non-performing assets. For people that are interested in a hands-off business, what we do is we sell the homes turnkey rented, which means there's already a tenant in it, and that's a Section 8 tenant. We have a huge stock of homes that are rented for $850 a month with Section 8. Does everyone know what Section 8 is? And what that means is that the government's paying the rent for a low-income family to live there. Sometimes it's not even necessarily low income. Sometimes they can have a disability for any different reason. That's just a government-funded program. I like the Section 8 program because you get your money from Uncle Sam every month, and his checks are always good, they never bounce, they're always on time. That's very important, you know. So those homes we typically sell for 80 cents on the dollar. So if the home will appraise for 70,000, we'll sell it for 56. No, thank you. So basically, performing, non-performing, I like to buy non-performing assets, put improvements into them, and sell them as performing assets. That's kind of my business plan, if you will. So we can take homes that are just, most people wouldn't even look at buying, and I'll put Bud and his crews on it, and within 2 or 3 weeks, it's move-in ready. Then at that point, we'll put a tenant in it and we'll sell it. And as I said, about 80% of our business is all out-of-state investors. And a lot of people have been talking about this. There's a huge trend of people coming to Detroit to buy property because it's one of the cheapest spots in the country to buy. There's not many spots in America you can go buy property for the prices we have in here for. And as far as the income approach of it, there's not many markets in America where you can really cash flow like you can in Detroit. There's a lot of different programs out there to help people be successful, but you have to come to these groups and get plugged in order to tap into them and find out where they are. So the fact that everyone's here tonight, it means everyone's on the right step to doing something. So even if you don't own a home yet, at least you took the time to come out. And you know, it's our plan. Everyone here is to work with everyone else to make everyone a homeowner or an investor. So, you know, we're all in this thing together. If the city prospers, we all prosper. If the city struggles and the city falls down, then we all struggle and we all fall down. So a lot of people, you know, they're leaving Michigan saying that it's terrible and you can't make money here. From what I see that the people that are losing their homes, 80% of the foreclosures are investor fraud. These are guys that have bought homes for $20,000, financed them for $70,000, and walked away from the deal completely and pocketed the money. 80% of the foreclosures I see in Detroit are non-owner occupied investors that have done fraudulent transactions. Small portion of the foreclosures are the actual working people every day. That's a smaller percentage of people that are losing their homes from what I've seen. And from my experience and what I've seen in the past year, these people that are losing their homes in the suburbs, that are the working, everyday working class people, these are the people that, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, you all probably know someone like this that were working for the big three saying, I got paid for 70 hours last week and I played cards for 60. Okay, and these are a lot of the people you see struggling now because they don't have the overtime. They've bought homes, they've bought things that they can't afford on the overtime and double time money. So I think that with good planning and people being responsible, I think that everything's going to level out within a timely fashion. I don't have a crystal ball, but I mean, I literally can't see it taking no more than a couple of years for things to really start picking back up. But there's still neighborhoods in the city that are going up in value. Even though everything's going down, there's still pockets that are going up in value. You see a lot of people moving into like the Rosedale Parks and Grandmonts, like a lot of people that would never, you wouldn't think would be the city type of people that would live in the city. A lot of people like with dual incomes, no kids, are moving into those areas because they can't find homes like that anywhere else for a fraction of the price. They don't have the quality that they have in those homes and things like that. The appeal of the neighborhoods, the full-grown landscape. So there's a lot of people coming into the city, and people in my age bracket, I'm 29 years old, a lot of people in my age bracket are coming into the city buying lofts. And all this is good as long as we can keep people coming into the city, keep people buying in the city, keep people invested in the area. But as soon as we don't offer these people help, and as soon as we don't all stick together, it all falls apart. So the one thing I'll tell everyone is you need a team. Come to as many of these meetings as you can with as many different groups as you can. Network, build a team, take advantage of our team. We already have one in place. If you need financing, we'll get you financing. If you need title, we'll get you title, appraisal, contracting, property management. Do a lot of property management work. I did a joint venture agreement with an existing property management company. The guy was in business for 20 years. I sat down with him for 45 minutes. He said, wow, I can't believe You find tenants on the internet in Detroit. I said, the best tenants we get in Detroit come off the internet. And this gentleman, who's my partner, was just strictly sign in front of the property, newspaper, just old school marketing. So we come in and we use a lot of innovative things to get properties rented. We have a lot of relationships with like insurance companies. We just have a property right now that we were going to rent the property for $900 a month. We got an insurance company called us and said, hey, we'll pay you for 6 months up front if you'll take $1,300 a month rent. So if you only wanted $900 and they're going to give you $1,300 for a 6-month lease with your money up front, something to look at. So again, with the property management, we look at a lot of angles most people don't look at. Emergency placement. We have a number of Section 8 caseworkers that we work with because we manage so much Section 8 property. So, for example, if someone's home catches on fire, we'll get a call from the caseworker that says, hey, this person needs a spot to go in 48 hours. And we always have something available to put people into. And then we just get calls from people that said, hey, we need a bigger home. This woman had 2 children, now she has 3 children, she qualifies for a bigger home. So we get a lot of people in the program just buying larger homes, or not buying, but renting larger homes. Section 8 is a wonderful program. I encourage everyone to get involved with buying property and leasing it out to people that usually wouldn't have a chance at, renting a home. And a lot of landlords say, oh, I don't want to rent to Section 8 people because they don't work for it and they're not going to respect it and they have a bunch of children and they're going to tear it up. But these people on the program, if they mess up on the program, they're kicked off. They're done. And nobody wants to mess up free housing. If you're in need, people that are in need understand that they don't want to let that opportunity pass them by. So I think in the past year we've had one person get kicked off the program, probably approximately 100 doors. So it's pretty hard, to get kicked off. But if you mess up, they are going to kick you off because there's someone else that needs that and there's someone else that will respect that. So Section 8 housing is a great way to make money, and the money's guaranteed. Market rent, Mark has a great program for lease options, and if anyone's interested in that, you should definitely take Mark's program. And just so you know, I started doing retail real estate about 9 years ago, and then some things happened, and I was in a business that didn't work out, and I said, well, I want to buy investment property. Someone introduced me to a broker, and then I started working with Mark about six something years ago. Took me under his wing, showed me all about assignments, all about buying and selling, all about renting, all about the different things, and watching people. We've watched people make money, we've watched people lose money, and we've watched and realized what the difference is between these people, It's a very lucrative business. The only thing I can say is that, a lot of my friends say, oh, you don't work, you're retired. But we work this business every day, and it consumes you, and there's nothing wrong with that. I work 7 days a week, but some people say, hey, you're sitting in the pool talking on the phone, that's not work. To me, it's work. So my point is that it's a very rewarding business. There's not many businesses that you can get into that you create your own destiny. If you want to make $1 million in real estate, you can do it. But you just have to listen. Every person that tells you can't do it, you just have to not listen to them, push them aside. There's a lot of people that call me for years. Tarek, I want to get involved in buying property. I want to do what you do. And they come to me and they say, all right, I'm ready to go. So, well, if you want to do something, come to this meeting tonight. There's probably 10 people that want to do something that called me for years and years and years that didn't come tonight. Oh, there's a basketball game. Oh, there's this. There's that. And long story short, in a few more years, those are going to be the same people saying, I still want to do something. I still want to do something. I saw a TV on commercial with a couple of midgets, and I'm crazy. So we've all seen it, okay? We've all seen it, and that's literally, I'll get those calls from friends, in the middle of the night saying, yeah, I was watching this Carlton Sheets thing. I'm really ready to get going now. And then 6 months later, a year later. So the only thing I say is if you're ready to do it, make a commitment to yourself to do it, even if your commitment is to buy one house a year. Buy one house a year. If you bought one house a year and just sat on it, I mean, I work very hard for a living, just like probably everyone else here. If I didn't spend all the money I made on houses living, if I could just 1 year, every one of them, just put that money on the side and not touch it, you would never need to work after a few years. Because that just grows and it grows and it grows. And once you learn how to invest your money for yourself, the sky's the limit. I mean, I talk to people that ask, what type of return on investment do I look for? Obviously as big as possible, but I tell people the type of deals I did a deal last week. This is kind of how funny this business is. Monday morning I woke up to a call from a homeless guy that watches some of my houses, does some work for me. Says, someone threw a brick through the window of one of your houses over the weekend. Your big picture window, it's broken. So I said, all right, I'll go down there and look at it. House has only been vacant for 2 days, and I throw a brick through the window. I go, look, they stole the copper plumbing. So I'm looking at it, I said, oh man, well I'm just thankful my furnace, my hot water heater, all that stuff's still there. So I go to the store to go get some security bars for the front windows. I'm sitting in front of the store, and the guy from the neighborhood says, hey, I saw you at this home on West State Fair. Are you interested in selling it? I heard you bought it. I said, well yeah, I'll sell it. Well, long story short, that project, the only thing I did was cut the grass, put a padlock on the door, and that was a 500% return on investment in 3 weeks' time. Never fixed it, never did anything. I sold it for 5 times what I paid for it. That guy gave me cash money, signed a deed on the hood of the car, and was thanking me on the way. And I was thanking him because I was going to donate it. That was the worst one. Water above the furnace in the basement. So even the house that you think there's no value in, someone sees value in it. So always keep that in mind. Certain areas, where I wouldn't buy years ago, for example, I just put my first 2 offers in at Brightmoor. Does everyone know where Brightmoor is? Oh, right. Whoa, not Brightmoor. For 6 years, I've said the same thing. Not Brightmoor. No, not Brightmoor. And I always pass on the DaCostas and the Dolphins and all those streets. Anything in that zip code, 223, I'll pass, right? But now I'm looking at it and saying, you know what? Whereas years ago I wouldn't take that chance. If I just sold the one on West State Fair with water up above the furnace, the guy's been asking me for years, why don't you buy in Brightmoor? I don't like the people in the neighborhood.
I saw your sign in front of State Fair, keep cool indoor pool.
Can I use that one? He gave me the okay, you guys are all my witnesses. I like that, I'm going to use that, keep cool. All right. So, long story short, there's people buying in every area. In neighborhoods that you or I wouldn't even think to go to, there's people that are buying in these neighborhoods, and there's people that see value there. And most of them are people from the area, people from the neighborhood. Another thing I can tell you from experience that I've learned is if you're going to fix a house, if you fix it right up front, you don't need a for rent sign, you don't need to market it, you'll rent it in the neighborhood. I can't tell you how many homes that when I'm putting together, just by being in front of the home, people come up and say, wow, it looks so beautiful, I remember what it used to look like. Do you want to rent it or sell it? Whatever you want to do. If you want to rent it or you want to buy it, we got a deal. So I will say if you do it right, it does pay off because curb appeal is everything. And understand also if you're looking at a home and you and I may look at that and say, wow, I wouldn't live here. But there's a lot of people looking for homes that are in unsafe housing right now, unfunctional housing that you or I wouldn't even want to imagine stepping foot in. There's people living in these type of conditions right now in the city. So to a lot of people, anything is an improvement when they're looking for a new spot to live. So also keep that in mind. So, but my story back to the Brightmoor thing was that was a pocket that for 6 years I would never consider going into. I'm buying 2 homes in Brightmoor right now, and I'm confident I'll do very well on it, Other things I can talk about that would benefit you guys is getting involved with different organizations such as this, such as Mark's group, such as the REHAB associations. Such as even picking up the newspaper and, as I said, calling them for rent ads. Find out who's investing in your neighborhoods. If you're looking at something in a neighborhood, there's other people that own rentals in that neighborhood. You want to know who they are, because a lot of the time you can get a good deal from them. Or worst case, if you find a good deal in your neighborhood, you can have a built-in buyer for that right away. How many times have you guys looked at a property to try and resell to someone and said, where am I going to start trying to find a buyer? That happens all the time, right? I get a property, the first thing I'm going to do is say, well, whose area is this property in? Who do I know that buys that neighborhood? And if I don't know anyone off the top of my head, I'm going to look in the newspaper at everything for rent in that area. Anything for rent in that area, I know if I'm selling it, that I'm buying it right, and I'm selling the property at the right price that any investor can make money. So I'm not going to be afraid to call that investor and say, hey, I see you got this property for rent over here on Riverview. I got a property, 10 homes up the street. I'm willing to make a good deal on it for someone if you're interested. Are you still buying? You would be amazed how many people with homes for rent are still buying more homes. And on the flip side of that, it's a new contact. That's someone to put in your database. That's someone that even if you can't do business with them today, you can do business with them one day. In this business, there's a lot of people that you'll build a relationship with someone and it'll be 2 years, 3 years before you do a deal with them. But it's a very, very small business. So the one thing I can tell everyone is do good business, because there's a lot of people out here, if you do bad business, a lot of people out here, they'll blackball you. They won't want anything to do with you, and it's a very small business. I had a guy, the homes I'm selling for $15,000 cash, I had a guy take a list, he gave it to another guy, told him 20. That guy gave it to another guy, told him 25. That guy gave it to another guy. Now they're trying to sell me my properties back for $30,000. And I'm asking 15. So, I call these people, I said, have you seen the property? No. Do you know what you're working with? No. Do you think that I would let you make $15,000 profit on something that I've bought with my own money and spent money on, and I'm only trying to sell it for 15? People say, well, I don't care if you get, you shouldn't care as long as you get what you want. But now my question is, are you going to buy it for $30,000? Well, it's not a deal at $30,000. Then why are you going to try and sell it to someone for $30,000? Does that make sense? So if anyone that wants to get into wholesaling, I'll be happy to have a long, in-depth conversation with you about it. The one thing I'll tell you is just put a nominal fee on it. Don't put an exorbitant fee on it, because the whole key is making sure the end investor makes money. If the end investor is successful, everybody wins. But the problem we have here in the city is that there's so many wholesalers out here that are taking all the equity out of the property and giving it to a new investor that doesn't understand the market, doesn't understand the industry, and they're upside down from the property. And I'll give you an example. The other day, I eat brunch every Sunday at Don Shula's Steakhouse. That's my little Sunday brunch thing. And the waiter says, hey, I see you in here every Sunday drinking champagne and lunchtime. And I said, what the hell do you do for a living? So I tell him, I'm an investor and a wholesaler in Detroit. So the waiter says, well, I'm an investor in Detroit. So I'm thinking, well, maybe he's trying to get into the business. I said, what are you working with? He said, well, I got a property on Conley. I said, oh, it's on the east side. What's the house number? Oh, 19,004 or something. I said, okay, just north of 7 Mile, 3-bedroom frame bungalow. I said, wow, you know the city. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe I'm going to get a deal out of the guy. How much you want for it? I asked him. The guy says, well, I owe $84,000 on the home. So my first question was, how much money did you pull out when you bought the home? I said, well, I was supposed to get $15,000, but my cousin that brought me the deal kept the money and never gave me anything. So I said, you owe 87 or 84, 85,000, whatever it was, on a home that I sell homes in the same neighborhood, fixed up, rented, Section 8, I sell them for 55, 60,000 tops. And this poor gentleman, owes 85,000. So I said, what's your plan? He said, well, I'm trying to sell it right now. So what are you doing to sell it? He said, well, anything I can. I'm like, do you have it listed? No. Have you talked to someone about a short sale? No. Do you got a sign in front of it? No. Have you thought about renting it? No. I'm like, how much money does the home need and work? About $4,000. Guy didn't have $4,000 in improvements to put into the home. So my point is that if you're gonna put your credit on the line to buy something, don't finance 100% of anything. 80%, always leave 20% in it because you can always move the property to someone else if there's some equity in the property. As soon as you go to 100%, you will never, very few people will really sustain at that point. Another thing I can tell you from experience is make sure that if you do decide that you want to be a landlord, because there's a million different ways to make money in property, you can, make it buying and selling, wholesaling, but if you decide to be a landlord, contract a property management company. That's the best money you'll ever spend, because people like myself and like all you guys know I have a big heart. So as a landlord, if a tenant comes to me with a problem, I'm too understanding. And a lot of the time that costs me money. So now I put my foot down and say, I don't own anything. I don't own it. I'm just working for the management company, and that's how it goes. That third party in between makes a huge difference. Are there any landlords in here currently? Anyone that has rental property? Okay. Who can give me a funny story about time to collect rent? Give me one. Go ahead. Give me a good story. The best excuse you ever heard for why they don't have the rent.
Oh, shoot, I don't know.
Been a lot of them.
Yeah.
Give me one.
Oh, the prom. My daughter needs a dress for a prom.
Okay.
And I don't have enough money to pay the rent. And I'm like, this is your rent.
Yeah.
So they don't pay the rent.
Here's one.
That's a good one. Go ahead.
He's behind already 2 months, but then when I come to him, he got the door open with 6 cents on the table and everything gone, and a note that he's gone.
He left you 6 cents?
6 penny on the
At
table.
least you got something out of him. So I go to collect the rent, and I ask her, I said, okay, where's the rent? And the poor woman answers the door, and her eye is swollen shut. I said, no, what happened? My daughter's father came and beat me up and took the rent money. And this is a real story. This is real stuff. And how do you, as a landlord, when you own that home, that particular one I own free and clear, when you don't have a mortgage on it, how do you tell that person, too bad, you still got to pay? So you say, you know what, I'm sorry to hear about it, call me in a week or two. And what's happened is so many different times, various stories like that, different things happen, that because you're personally involved in the deal, you cannot make money. Once you form that personal relationship and they know that they can call you and lean on you as almost a friend or a confidant, you're done. Strictly keep it business. Rent's due on the 1st. If I don't have rent by the 6th of the month, there's a notice to quit on your door on the 7th of the month. If we don't have it in another 7 days, we're filing paperwork at the court. And that's the whole key also to keeping tenants in line, is whatever you do it systematically and always do it the same day. If you send out notice to quits 1 month on the 15th and then you send them out another month on the 7th and another month on the 20th, you're done. You already lost your battle. The tenant's not going to take you seriously because they're going to think, hey, you don't have your stuff together. So if you don't have your stuff together, they think they can get away with something. Landlording is very rewarding. The real money in real estate is made over the long term. I have a small rental portfolio, but what happens is, like everyone else, I'm a small business owner. I get a nice asset, someone makes me an offer on it, I sell it. I take the money, I live on it, I reinvest it. There's nothing wrong with it. But rentals for the long term are a great way to make income. It's a great way to shelter your income through depreciation, various different tax write-offs that are associated with the property, deducting the interest that you pay, your property taxes, your improvements. It also gives you a chance to take a loss even though you're actually making money, which is advantageous to most people, depending upon your situation as far as your income and whatnot. Questions that anyone has about property management, controlling tenants, placing tenants, things that should be in lease agreements? Any questions at all?
Are you having a class?
No. No. But you can talk with me and I'll sit down with you for free and help you out with anything you want, just because I'm all in this together and I just want everyone to have the same mindset of if we help each other, we can make a difference. And if we can make a difference, we can build a community. If we can build a community, we can make the whole city prosper and we can grow, But if everyone's just trying to take it from everyone else's pocket, it's never going to go anywhere.
Do we meet you at the pool or the bar?
What day, Mark? What day? Weekdays, pool, weekends, brunch, whatever you want. Anytime.
Wow.
Don't forget the lake.
Tariq, now you're in the middle, so you're selling to other investors. But you still get a chance to see what they're doing with the property. So in this market, are you finding that most people are flipping or most people are landlording?
I see the people that are buying it at true wholesale prices, buying it, making it a performing asset, and selling it to people for a semi-wholesale price, 80 cents on the dollar. So the stuff is still moving very quickly, but there's two different types of buyers for the most part. You have your cash buyers and you have your finance buyers. The cash buyers, there's always been cash buyers in the city. There will always be these people that, are under everyone's radar. Like I have a client that owns 1,000 single-family homes that are all rentals. And they're third-generation landlords in Detroit. It's all about what works best for the person. A lot of younger people in my age bracket were buying and selling to turn the money, doing different things like 1031 exchanges so we don't have to pay tax on that money, keep growing it, putting it into larger pots, larger portfolios, more commercial deals. And then what I see from typically more of the middle-aged investors is more of the passive cash flow approach and saying I'm more interested in making a residual income, a couple $1,000s a month. And so typically I've seen the people that have more energy and aren't burnt out yet, dealing with fixing them and getting them put together. And then I see the other people that have just said, I've had so much headache, I just want to rent it, make a couple dollars, and I'm happy with that. And then they sit tight for the long-term asset and resell it eventually. Any other questions as far as?
Yes, I do have a question. You say you buy in bulk.
Yes.
Are you in the market to buy at comps, say 100 properties?
Without a doubt, as long as the price point is good. We do a lot of stuff where we buy in bulk, but the price point that we get for buying in bulk is very attractive. We have no problem taking the good, the bad, and the ugly with it, but it has to be a very attractive price point, and we can pay cash and we can close very quickly. And you give me a list of 100 properties, I will see all of them in 1 to 2 days.
Okay.
And that's another thing I'll tell everyone here. Everyone's like, what's the secret to getting a good deal? Does everyone want to know the secrets to getting a good deal?
Yeah,
There's two crucial things. Number one is time. Someone gives you a list, you go look right away. The good deals are not going to be there in 2 days or 3 days. They move immediately. I get a list from one of my suppliers. He'll call me sometimes at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because he's on the West Coast. He'll call me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and say, I got 20 assets I need bids in by the morning. And you know what? 9 o'clock in the morning, he'll have 20 offers sitting there. And I'll go see every single one of them. Even if it's the first time I came here last month, when I left here, I went to go look at 2 houses at 9 o'clock at night. And last month it was not like this at 9 o'clock at night. It was pitch black out. So the one thing I will tell everyone is don't waste time. If you get a list, go look at. If you don't have to look at everything, just look at what's in your area of interest. Then the other thing, another big thing for getting a good deal, don't waste people's time. Tell people, hey, listen, I'm not in a position to do something right now, but when I am, I'll call you. And I have people that call me and say, hey, I talked to you a few months ago, I got my stuff together, I'm ready to do something. I take such good care of those people because they respected me enough not to waste my time, you know? So if you don't have any money in your pocket, don't ask me to come take you and show you a bunch of homes, right? Because then when you call me and you need something, I'm going to say, well, you know what? how many hours have I spent with you? And I didn't make anything, you know? So I will say, don't waste time when you get a deal. Number one way to find a good deal, go out there. Number two thing, in order to finding a good deal, make an offer. You're not gonna get a deal if you don't make an offer. If I go look at 20 homes, I may only want 10 of them. I'll offer on all 20 of them because I'm gonna get a much better price. And I know on a lot of my offers, on the 10 that I don't want, I'm gonna offer them a price that they wouldn't even look at. But you know what? The one I told you with the water and the furnace, I didn't think they would look at it for that price, but they did, and they took it. I had no real interest in buying that property. When I bought it, I made a 500% return on it in 3 weeks. All I did was cut the grass and put a padlock on it.
Right. You have a business card, right?
Yes, I have business cards over there, and I have a list of available properties, and then I have 2 flyers over there, one for seller finance properties and one for turnkey assets that are already performing. So, once again,
Performing assets, Tariq, you mean putting a tenant in there or just full renovation?
what was that?
When you say performing asset, turning it into a performing asset.
Performing means that it's already occupied,
Okay.
and all my performing assets that we sell are Section 8 rented. So you're not chasing around someone for the money, you get it straight from Uncle Sam every month, no ifs, ands, or buts. And as we said, his checks are good, they always clear.
Do you do seller financing on those too?
Not at all, because the income that those properties produce is much higher income than we could get if we sold it on a seller finance basis. So the seller financing is typically for assets that need improvement, just to give people that usually wouldn't have a chance to buy, to give them a chance to buy. And, you know, if someone is very serious about it, we're in the business of making sure whoever buys succeeds from us. So if someone came to me and said, hey, Tarek, you know, I want to buy this, but I'm in a tough situation right now, I can come up with a $3,000 down, and I got a few dollars to patch it together, but it's going to be tough. I can work with someone and defer their payments for 90 days or something, get you in there with $3,000 down, no payments for 90 days, give you time to fix it, whatever it takes. One thing I tell everyone is, don't BS me. I tell everyone the same thing. It's kind of funny. A guy told me that, and it stuck with me ever since. He said, if you want me to help you, you have to tell me the whole truth. You have to treat me like you're OJ on trial for murder and I'm Johnny Cochran. You know, otherwise I can't help you. And I have that happen all the time where people say, I can do this, and I help them get into a deal, and then they call me back and I say, oh man, I don't have the money to fix it. You told me you had the money to fix it. You know, if you told me you didn't have the money to fix it, we could have got you a private money loan on it, or we could have done something different, or we could have maybe kept more of that money in your pocket and, you know, added it on to the back end of the deal. You know, there's a lot of possibilities. And I'll tell everyone this too, if there's something you want in a deal from a seller, ask for it. Don't be afraid to ask for it. The craziest deal I ever got, the craziest terms I ever got, I was watching TV late at night, and we all see the wall side window commercials, right? No interest, no payment, 12 months, right? So I had a motivated seller on a couple apartment buildings that were occupied, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna try it. What the heck do I got to lose, right? I said, you know what? I want the buildings, but I don't want to make no payments for a year, and I don't want to pay no interest for a year. He said yes. He said yes. And I got 2 buildings, 2 apartment buildings, a 10 unit and a 12 unit, both here on the east side, that I paid what the owner paid in 1974, and I bought them in like 03, maybe 04. So 30 years later, I paid what he paid. I gave him no money down. I made no payments for a year. And I still had financing beyond that year. And if I didn't ask for it, I wouldn't have got it. Every deal since then that I do as a seller finance deal, that's the first thing I ask for. And they all say no. Okay? But you know what? For the one guy that said yes, and if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yep.
Right.
So my thing is, even if you think something's so crazy and too good to be true, put it in writing, take it to them, let them take you seriously. But you know, this instance, the guy was burnt out. He was fed up with dealing with it. He actually got robbed at one of the buildings trying to collect rent. He didn't want anything to do with it. He said, I've had it for 30 years. I'm burnt out. I made my money. No problem. So, I mean, and that guy started at $125 a building. For the package, it was $250. We ended up getting the package for $150. Seller finance, 0 down, no payments, no interest for a year. And if I wouldn't have asked, my partners thought I was crazy. They're like, are you out of your mind? He's not going to take us serious. I said, well, I've been talking to the guy for 6 months. I got a feeling he'll take us very seriously because he just doesn't want to deal with it. So, again, if you want a deal, if you want a real good deal, go look at some houses. Put in some offers. Put in some lowball offers. I'm asking 15 for those homes over there. Bring me a lowball offer, I'll probably take it. Anyone want to go look at houses? And that I'm a motivated seller. So my point is that if you guys want to do something, you have to take action. It all starts with taking action. And it could be as simple as buying one house a year. It could be as simple as doing one every 5 years. You know? But do something, because you got a team of people here that'll help you. Anyone has questions, they can call me, I'll help them. Anyone needs help placing tenants, getting the property rehab, getting it resold. We're all a team. If everyone works together, the city will prosper. But if everyone turns their back to everyone else and says, I don't want nothing to do with what you're doing, I don't need you, we'll never have a community, you know? And what it takes to make it work is community. I bought a house, and the one where they threw the brick through the window, I had an old playground, City of Detroit playground across the street with, you know, really tall grass and whatever, and they cut the grass every once in a while. But when I bought the house, everyone liked the playground across the street. We painted all the swing sets on the playground. I paid my guys my money to go in, the swing sets, the monkey bars, whatever, it cost like $600-700. But I didn't have to do that. But you know what? It's right across the street from my house. What is that? That's investing in the community. Now when the neighbors see me and my guys spending our money to fix that park, what's the neighbor gonna do? Neighbor's gonna take care of their house just that much better. And then what's the guy next door gonna do? He's gonna say, wow, my neighbor planted flowers. I'm gonna plant flowers. And it grows, and it creates a snowball effect. And you know, the problem, and what I see like a big problem with the city is, and a lot of friends think I'm crazy because I grew up in the suburbs and buying property in Detroit. They're like, oh, you're crazy. Isn't there great deals in the suburbs? No, there's not. Not like there is in Detroit. But the reason the deals are here is because there really isn't a community. That people need to come together and work together and look out for one another. And there'll be a sense of community. I bought a home and on the east side here, and from the time I signed a contract to buy it to the time I closed, they stole all the aluminum siding off the house. I'm sure you guys have seen this happen before, okay? So I go kindly to my neighbor and I ask, you know, could you please keep an eye on it? They started stripping the siding. I have a feeling they're going to be back and take the rest of it. I don't want any vandalism or any damage to the home. Will you keep an eye on it? And her answer was, ain't my job to keep an eye on it. You live next door. They ripped all the siding off my house now. It looks like a big POS, okay? And long story short, she, you know, doesn't understand that, hey, we're in this thing together, you know? So if you see something going on, if you see someone stealing the siding off a house, or if you see a guy pushing a toilet or a vanity down the street in a shopping cart, call the police!
Take it back.
Call the police. Don't buy building materials from these guys that have these little flea market shops where you drive by and they got a couple hot water heaters in front of it, a couple windows, a couple doors. It's not a joke, because all that stuff is stolen from people like us that are trying to improve the city. And if people keep buying it and keep feeding it, it's never going to get better, you know? Any other questions that anyone has on any topic? We're going to have a little question and answer before we wrap it up. Is there any questions or concerns? Anything anyone ever wanted to know about real estate? If I can't answer it, Mark can. So, all right, and understand when you go to these groups, you got a lot of experience. I mean, between Mark Moppin and myself and the mortgage brokers, there's probably over 100 years of combined experience in this room. And that's what you get out of these groups, and I hope that's the one thing that everyone sees. So,
Got a question?
What's the most creative way that you've done to create the structure for any income that you make on your property, on like investment property?
to be honest with you, taxes are my weak side. I pay Uncle Sam every year. I just started, a 1031 exchange for resale of the properties. Another thing to look into is a low-income housing tax credit. Are you familiar with that? No. You can go to mishda.org and check out LIHTC. That's short for low-income housing tax credit. And that's a very good program to shelter a lot of your income if it's low-income housing that you're doing. It's a great way to shelter it. And that tax credit is good for 15 years. So once you get it, you can shelter your money for 15 years, year in, year out, for the work you do one time to get in the process. Any other questions? Go ahead.
You can only invest in one zip code in the city for long-term growth for the next 10 years.
48215.
All right, Tennessee. Not
48215. What's that?
Not 223?
No, not 223. I like the east side. For long term, my favorite neighborhood in all of Detroit is in between Connor here and Alter, in between Jefferson and the river. You know you're buying a house from me there right now. So that's my favorite area as far as the city goes. That, and I actually like 48203, Little Baghdad, 7 Mile and John R. I'm intrigued by that area as well.
Have you done well in there?
I've done very, very well in the 48203.
There's a lot of nice houses over there.
People think that I'm crazy for buying over there, but I've done very, very well because I'm interested in that, and I wish I had more property in Southwest Detroit in the Mexican town area. But what intrigues me about the 203s is they actually have a sense of community amongst the Arabic population there, and there actually is a close-knit community. So that's what I'm looking at, areas where there's close-knit communities, where there's actually homeowners living in the area, you know?
So you're saying stay here 7 Mile, John R. Woodward?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks like a war zone.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
But now the Winans family is started building already over 100 brand new homes. They're already up. And if you look at the brand new homes they built in Highland Park, just south of there, they're all already vacant. They're already kicked in because there's no sense of community. No one cares about the community. And that's what I was lucky enough a while ago to get teamed up with a guy as a community developer, and he made me realize and shine the light on me and said that you have to start with people making a difference. You have to train people in the way they think. So that's why I was honored to be able to come here and just get inside people's heads tonight and let them get inside my head to look at it and say, hey, you know what? This is really viable. This is really something that'll work if we all stick together, you know? So.
What about this guy, another guy that comes late night that tells, he's gonna, national grant company, what I'm talking about. That tells you how to
I went
get
to one of their
certain monies.
conferences before. I'm not into groups that sell information like that. I think a lot of it is their business isn't the real estate business. Their business is selling books.
Yeah.
So they're going to tell you anything to buy that book. So what I got out of it was primarily the real people that are getting these grants are nonprofit organizations. I've never got a grant for profit, but I will say that I'm looking at a commercial development here on the east side, and the bank I'm working with showed me a program for $40,000 in free improvement money, but that was not a government program. That was money granted from a local nonprofit. It was a nonprofit organization in the area giving money to developers and investors.
Well, like they're talking like they can show you how to get money to improve a home, bring it up to Section 8, that the government will give you so that they can then put their people.
I'd say this, if you want to go, I'll split the cost with you. If you want to take their class, I'll give you my card. I have no problem learning anything and going to look at it and chasing the angles. I'll get you one of my cards. I'll go. You got it? Okay, perfect. You had a question?
What was your first real estate deal you ever did? Where you got it from?
First real estate deal I ever did is a place to live, like an acquisition, not a commission, not a sales deal. Okay. First deal I ever did is an improvement. A guy I went to college with, I needed a place to live. He had credit, I had cash, we bought a house together. I helped him get the house fixed. I lived there for 3 months. I moved out because I just could not stand living with my phone. You know? So that was the very first deal I did, and I just got my money back out of it. I didn't win anything, but I learned. What I did learn was that I don't ever want to live with anybody. So,
When was that?
The kid's name was Ryan McKay or something. Oh, where was it?
When? What year?
When? 96, 97, I was like 18, 19 years old. The house was in South Warren, 9 Mile and Van Dyke. I was the only guy at 9 Mile and Van Dyke with a V12 BMW, you know? So, any other questions or concerns?
Did you advertise on the internet to get your out-of-town investors?
That's where I do all my marketing. I don't market in any written publications. All my marketing is electronic. Anyone else? Questions, concerns?
All right.